I'm joined today by four lovely people from Trinity Academy. I've forgotten where that is, though. Where's your school? I forgot. It's a great start. And where's your school?
Wakefield, West Yorkshire.
Wakefield, West Yorkshire. Thank you. Right, let's just go through the names. Now, if you're listening to this isn't going to help you much, but it's an encouragement to go and watch the video later. But on my screen in front of me, left to right, just give us your names, please.
I'm Alex.
I'm Aqsa. My name's Aseel.
I'm Daimonas.
So, I've got my seat. I wrote this down yesterday, but now you're in a different seat, which makes it good fun. So, Alex, Aqsa, Aseel, and Daimonas are golden connections from a Trinity Academy. So, let's start with the obvious one. Golden connections. What is that all about? Who wants to tell me first?
Golden Connections is our project that us as a team have come up with after doing lots of research. One of that research is that we delved into loneliness in the elder community by talking to them and finding out that it's not really a problem that's recognized by our community. So for that, we thought that we'd make a project that made sure that they felt included in our community and we tackled their problem. But not only that, our secondary research led us to also find that our generation also feel quite lonely. So we thought that a good idea would to introduce intergenerational activities between them, so then both our generation and the older generation benefit from the events that we hold.
Because it's good in a society, right? There aren't just young people or old people. There are all sorts of ages, and it is really good to get on. When I had really, really tiny children, it's understandable that you're in the local park, an old granny comes along. Oh, isn't it a cute little baby? We understand why there's that kind of contact going on, which is great. But then what happens when that little baby isn't quite so cute? Now it's a bit older. All of a sudden, even that really simple interaction has gone. But that, I guess, is partly what you're trying to, you've seen, you identified, and you're trying to do something about, which is brilliant. So what have you been doing? I mean, that's some of the research that led. What have you actually been practically doing? What are the actions that you've seen that you've done?
So we for a lot of our lesson time, we planned our research and our secondary research, and we found out what our project was going to be about. And for them, we held events at our school and our local community centre, which in the future we're also hoping to hold some more. So we first held a pensioners party during Christmas time, and we invited our local elderly community to come down and have a chat. And we asked our performing arts students to perform for them for entertainment. We held a bookmark sale, so that's how we gained some of our funds to that event.
Everybody needs a bookmark. Bookmarks are good. I like a bookmark. I don't care who knows it. I like bookmarks. They're good.
Yeah.
We've also held two other events, which were both eco cafes, where we brought the two generations together for intergenerational activities. We've provided entertainment through our performing arts students, where they sang songs for them. And we've also held multiple other events. We've also held some things during them, like a raffle ticket, which we used to gain more funds for our future events.
Cool. So that's some of the stuff you've done, which is great, because how do you engage people of different ages? Well, we've all got some stuff that, is actually the same. Yes, we might be younger, we might be older, but there's always something that we can get into. I love seeing some of the sports that people are getting into. I got a friend from Finland who's just been telling me she works in a school over there, and she's found a lot of her female students have suddenly in the last couple of years taken up knitting, which she'd always associate would be sort of, let's just say, more mature women, to be kind. But all of a sudden, her young students in school, I said, we want to do knitting. We don't want a mobile phone. We want to hold some knitting needles, and they're doing that instead. So she's seen quite a cultural shift in Finland just around one topic of knitting. And now you've got older women and younger women talking about knitting, which is like, she said, this is fantastic. It's just really fascinating as to how or the why. Why is knitting's this thing that's just erupted? But it has, and that's what happens in society. Stuff changes and it cycles and events. So the golden connections, you're trying to get people together. Coming to you, Alex, what have you been doing as you're trying to get this all to work? What's your role in all this?
Well, I'm like the main host, so I like greet the pensioners when they come in and serve them tea, chat to them, and just try to find out more about what they want from us and what they've liked so far.
But greeting is important, right? Smiling. You ever gone to a shop and someone's grumpy? You don't want to go back, do you? My wife was in the shop the other day, and there was somebody in front of them, and clearly it was a carer of some sort, and she had all these little bits of shopping that she was doing with a separate, next customer in between on the conveyor belt. The person on the till was really friendly and happy, and then my wife and my older son turned up, and they were next in line, and they were quite grumpy at them, really rude and like pushing stuff through. And it's interesting how we can change our perception on what we're seeing. But what's really exciting for me is you're actually trying to get into the lives of other people. I think it's worth saying for people who are listening or watching this isn't just a lesson where you've been told what to do by your teacher. You must do this. Okay, we'll do that. This is not that. This is actually, am I getting this right? This is in your spare time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is kind of fantastic. So why do you want to give up your time to do this? What's motivated you to actually want to give up time when you're given that's free, which is very precious? Why have you wanted to devote some of that to this project?
I think we held an event at our company where Bex held a meeting for all the schools, and we discussed issues that we normally see in society, and everybody disregarded that elderly topic and they put it to the bottom of the list, ranking them, and we all saw it and we thought, no, but this is a big issue and we should help it. Why are we disregarding it? So we came together, we came up with Gold Connections, and I think we've done quite a lot, but we're hoping to do a lot more.
In our society, you don't have to look far to realize there are a lot of problems. There are a lot of broken parts of society, people who don't want to talk to each other. And there's all this stuff that gets in the way. It fragments, it breaks up society. And yet there are people like you, which gives me hope for the future, because what you're doing is saying, well, okay, there's some brokenness in society, but do you know what? We can bring these two types of people together. The older generation, the younger generation. Do you know what? We can talk together. What have you found? Let's come back to you, Aseel. What have you found really beneficial to you personally from spending time with an older generation?
To be fair, it's being able to build a connection with somebody that you'd not normally really be able to talk to. It's at school we get to talk to our teachers, which obviously aren't that old. And
well said.
We get to talk to the younger generation quite a lot. But the elderly are they're not as included in our community as we'd like to be. So for me to build a connection with a couple of them and have that precious thing that not many other people have, it's quite a nice thing to have.
We saw it during COVID a little bit, I think, where people who lived next to each other or perhaps 2 or 3 doors away, all of a sudden were in the back garden, not allowed to go to work, not allowed to go to the pub, can't see their friends, can't go to the park. So what do? They start talking to the neighbours who they can physically see and realising, we didn't even know you lived there. We've never met each other. We've been here for 40 years. Didn't know you were there. But that's what happens. Situations change. And it actually opens our eyes to some really exciting stuff. Let's come back to you, Daimonas. So what have you enjoyed most? In a sense, I'm not saying being forced to this. I know you've volunteered, but you're in a situation which you wouldn't necessarily have chosen with that particular group of people. What have you enjoyed most about that? How have you most benefited from it?
I've enjoyed talking to the elderly, finding out their stories and what they've done in their life, because it's very different. It ranges from being a governor to I don't know, working in a factory or something. It's very interesting to find out what they do.
And I think that's the other part is asking questions, because when you ask questions, it's amazing the answers you can get. I said to my kids when they're at school, if you're listening to somebody who's really passionate and you're really bored, try and get behind their passion. And you'll find it's much more interesting, and it's much easier to listen to a subject. You think, I listened to an author one time. I don't care. I don't want to write books. I now edit a magazine. I didn't know I was going to do that when I was 10 or 8. But I used to say to my kids, just listen to the passion of the person. And it's fascinating what you would never otherwise have learned if you were in a situation that perhaps you might not have originally intended. But it's excellent. Come back to you, Alex. So you're the greeter, you're the smiling face, you're the person that says, hello, welcome, come on in. How natural was that for you? Are you the sort of person that's quite happy to speak to people, or was it you getting out of your comfort box to do that?
At the start, it was quite hard because, I usually just talk to him. But now it just flows naturally, and I'm happy to talk to the older generation whenever they see fit.
Do you know why that's changed in you? Do you know what made it? I mean, I can clearly see you enjoying thinking about having chatted to these folk. Do you know what changed in you that made you enjoy it, even though it was hard to begin with?
I think it's just I don't know.
Just good conversations?
Yeah. Just finding out about people. It's quite interesting.
Interesting is good. Coming back to you, Aqsa, same question really. What have you learned? What have you most valued from getting to spend time with people that if you hadn't have done this, you wouldn't have got to meet, probably?
I think even though we both our generations have a lot of differences, we have like the same like perspectives on most things. Like I don't know an example on the spot, but we connect a lot, and like their views are like, although some of them are very like not very modern, we understand them and we can relate to them a lot. And when you talk to them and understand like how difficult some of their lives are because of loneliness, you understand like I don't understand how I didn't communicate with them before, like how we've just left them in one corner of society and just excluded them, and you almost feel like sad about it, like I can't believe we've done that in a way.
But it's motivated you, which is the whole point. In a sense, that's part of the heart and parcel of what Next Gen does. It's trying to connect you to some of the needs in society to get you to think bigger. Let me encourage you with this before we move on. I went to France a few times because I studied French at school. I was terrible at French, by the way. I was awful. But I went to France, and the one thing that really irritated all my peers who went with me was when I spoke French to the French people, my grammar was terrible. My language was, it wasn't correct French. And my teacher was saying, "Oh, why did you say that? You should have said it like this." But the French folk always said, "The thing is, Andy, we know what you're trying to say. You're not speaking perfect French like your friends who we can't understand because they're not making sense because it's too accurate. You're making all these mistakes with bad grammar and language and all that, but we know exactly what you're trying to say because you just communicate a story and we understand what you're saying and asking." It used to wind up the kids from my school because I wasn't speaking very well in French, but I spoke in a way that was understandable. And I think that's what I'm seeing in you for, is that you're speaking in a way that the old people are engaging with. If you just give anybody a time, I mean, in the society today, just asking someone a question and waiting for an answer can be brilliant for mental health. So let's touch on that. Mental health. What have you seen change in the older folk that you have been able to spend time with? Have you seen some improvements? Are they more relaxed when they come than when they started?
Yeah. I mean, at first when they came in, they'd keep to their friendship groups. They wouldn't exactly interact with us or like as much as we've seen now. So we see a slight change in how they talk to us. They're a lot more comfortable with us and other people. So we've taken them out of that social isolation that they've been so used to, and we've kind of forced them to socially interact with other people. And even though that sounds a bit off, to force them, it has done them some good in a way that now they feel like it's a lot easier for them to express their feelings, emotions, and stories. So then it does increase their mental health, because now if they do have a problem at home or a problem with mental health, they'll find it a lot easier to communicate it with somebody, as our activities have allowed them to socially interact and build up their socialization skills.
If you've ever been ill, you're lying in bed, you don't feel great, you start to feel a bit better, and now you're thinking, "Oh, okay, I can get up and do something," and you think, "Yeah, but I like my bed because in my bed I'm safe, I'm happy, I'm comfortable, and it's okay here." And you don't want to get out of your bed. But we're not talking just about that. We're talking about people who, as you're probably experiencing, could have been not seeing anybody for the last week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and they come to your thing and they've not met anybody, and it's really hard when you've not had that regular daily conversation to then strike up a conversation, which is why it's so impressive what you've done. And it's so encouraging to me to hear that you've seen the change in the people that are coming back, because now they're more relaxed. And that right there is adding value to society, which needs to be applauded. So well done for that. Let's just move on. I know you've got some stuff in front of you because we like visuals because it's a video. If you're listening on the radio, this is another reason to make sure you watch the video. So have you got your posters and stuff in front of you? Just hold up what it is that you've got. There you go. So this is some of the stuff you've been putting together. So let's just go through with each of those one at a time. Alex, what have you got in front of you?
Mine is something that we made for the school newspaper, and it just tells people about what we've done. And this one's about our eco cafe.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Same question, Aqsa. What have you got?
So this was at the start of our project where we advertised our pensioners party. So it was our first ever pilot event. It went around St George's Community Centre, so a lot of the pensioners actually saw this, and yeah, I think a lot of them came down and enjoyed themselves.
Brilliant. The power of post-it, it genuinely works. Aseel, what did you have?
I have some research, some facts for you.
Okay. What have you got? What are the facts? Give us a few.
Over 9 million adults across the UK feel lonely, and 30% of the UK have some kind of mental health problems to do with loneliness.
They're rather striking statistics, aren't they? That's 3 out of every 10 people. That's a lot. Okay. And lastly, what did you have?
I have our poster that I was inviting the pensioners to come to our most recent event where we celebrated us winning the Kickstarter award for Next Gen.
Do you know what I love about what Next Gen is doing? It isn't just saying, okay, children, let's do this and off you go, which is just sometimes, yes, maybe helpful. What they're saying is, look, here's some opportunities in life. How can you help this? How can you do this? And I love the fact that you four have said, you know what, old folk, why are they being relegated to the bottom of the list of priorities? Do you know what, they matter too? And that's what I loved about what you did. I remember being in the room at the museum in Leeds, listening to you talking and thinking, there's passion here. There's heart. There's actual compassion. Not let's do something because we got to, but we actually care. We actually value these people. And I can guarantee that's what they'll see. They might have been a bit apprehensive, like, why are we here? Okay, let's see what they really want. But then they see that what you really want is to make them feel included and part of society, which is what we all want ultimately, which is fantastic. Now, let's move on a bit for you for Next Gen. You've been doing this for a while. I know that the end of your school year is coming up. Obviously, September, new school year. What happens to Next Gen's and what you're doing from September?
Okay, so we're currently creating event packs right now, which we're going to hand over to the next year 10 students who come in September. It's going to contain stuff we've done this past year, our research, and the start of things that we've done so that they can boost it for the next year. I think at the start of next year, we're going to do an introduction week. So we're going to not only give them the resources, but like go through it with them, tell them like what we've done and how like they can improve this project and what they should do next, but then also use their own ideas like in building on our project, which we hope will last for quite a few years.
It'd be great to see it grow, wouldn't it? It's hard though, because you've grown this. So let me just get this correct. When you started Golden Connections, there wasn't one, was it? This was your original idea. Is that right?
Yeah.
Cool. So next year, have you been doing this for 1 year or is it 2? I've forgotten how long you've been doing it. Is it 1 year, 2 years?
This is 1 year.
1 year. So as you reach year 2, obviously you're going to year 11. If you're listening in the US and elsewhere, that's GCSE. So that's kind of pre-college level. So that's an important time for you guys. So I understand why that would be important to not do everything at the same time. But you're going to hopefully get some new people on. How excited are you at bringing new people on, as opposed to how nervous are you about them coming along and changing what you began, if that makes sense?
I think it's more nerve-wracking to know that we're not going to be in control of what happens to Golden Connections. So if it fails, there's nothing we can do really.
But you can encourage.
Yeah.
Which is what you're now good at. Go on.
I was going to say, I think a lot of our students are like, we have a lot of like separate like curriculums going on like outside of school. So we've got a lot of clubs going on. Like people like when you sign up to it, you know what you're doing. So like, and if you don't want to do it, you've got another option. So those who pick it and like are going to go on to do it next year, I think I will be passionate about it, and I'm so excited to see what they do with it, to be honest.
Very good answer. Aseel, are you nervous about where it's going to go? Are you thinking, great, it's going to get even better? Or are you thinking, but I did this bit and this is really good? How do you tackle that? Because it's really hard.
Well, obviously, I don't want them to take control and do whatever they want with it, but it's good to have other people on because now we're used to having each other's ideas. We've gotten used to how each other, like how we think. So to have some new people come in with new ways of thinking and maybe even outside of the box that we've created and bring in ideas that can really boost our project. It's always good to see that. And I know a few people that will be doing it and they seem really happy about what we've done. And I don't think any of them have any evil intentions of bringing it down for us. But, I hope not anyway. So yeah.
I would assume not.
I'm happy with it.
Right, let's just move on a little bit to what you've learned, I suppose, individually. So you've started Golden Connections, you've done Golden Connections. Here we go. It's on, it's working. We've got some old folk there enjoying it. We've developed this, we've changed that, we've adapted that. What are you taking, Alex, as you move forward to this towards your GCSEs, obviously potentially college and employment and all the rest of life? What are you going to take from what you've learned in the last year that you can move forward with?
I think just the skills that I've learned, like communication, because at the start of the year, none of us really talked to each other and we were all in our separate like friend groups. But now we all talk to each other, and us four actually hosted, as you know. We didn't host, we presented in the Next Gen Leaders final event and we won the award, which helped us with communication, but also with confidence. So they're the main skills that we've developed and will take on in the next years.
Each one priceless. Same question to you then, Aqsa. What are you taking away as you move forward?
I think at the start we were all like, but is this actually going to work? Like, we're only like 20 odd students doing somewhat big for the community. Like, we don't know if it's going to actually happen. And then St. George's Community Centre came in and we saw like we can actually make a difference. And then our school strapline is everything's possible for one who believes, and we really saw it come undone because we've done so much to help the older generation, and then also linking our generation to for our community.
Yeah, no, brilliant. And Aseel, same for you. What have you learned? What can you take forwards into your future?
I think mainly the confidence I have in myself to speak out. Like, at the start of the year, you wouldn't catch me trying to do a presentation in front of an odd, even 5 or 6 people, never mind how many people we did at the museum. And the fact that I actually put my hand up, always volunteered to do it, and went through with it, it's like, it's given me so much pride in myself. And I'm sat here talking to you as well. That's like a big thing as well, and like loads of other people. So the confidence that I've built in myself and other people around me, it's allowed me also to be a team worker, because I wouldn't say that I exactly listen to other people, but now that I've been put in a team and we've had a goal for a while and we've actually achieved that goal, I'm happy that I have the people that I'm with and that I do believe in them as much as I believe in myself, which is something I've also come across in the past year.
Fabulous. Same question. Lastly, for you, Daimonas, what have you learned that you're going to move forwards with?
I've learned that I'm just much more confident than I used to be, and also I'm able to speak much more clearly now, because before I used to stutter everything and mumble a lot, but now like I can speak loudly, clearly. Like, it's helped me so much more when I've realised. It's also made me realise that our school motto, everything is possible for one who believes, is actually true, and that we can do it if we just want to do it.
Communication is key. I grew up in the Black Country in the West Midlands, where everybody speaks really, really rapidly, really fast. And I went to Manchester. I did some schools work for a year, and I spent months with the students in the school saying, "What? We don't understand a word you're saying," because I used to be grown up. You know, it's like near West Midlands, Birmingham, Dudley area. It's really strong accent. It's really fast, and that's how I spoke. And I thought, well, what's wrong with you? Why can't you understand me? And then you realise, actually, dozens of students are now saying they can't understand a word I'm saying. So maybe it's not all of them. Maybe it's something I can change. And I learned to speak a bit more clearly. So I can definitely identify that with you, Daimonas, because I know I struggled when I first started speaking, that people didn't understand me. And it used to wind me up, like, what's wrong with you? I'm speaking completely clearly. But of course, accents are quite hard. And if I'm from the Midlands, even 90 minutes up to Manchester, where I spent a year, it's not that far, but it's quite far for accents. So I learned the importance of trying to be better. I still speak to you far too fast when I get excited, which isn't brilliant. But you know what? That's part of who I am, and that's okay. But you can still work on stuff, which is what, it's just really exciting to see what you've done. I want to sum it up this way. Golden Connections, this is something you started from nothing, which on its own is terrifying. You've identified that. Is this even going to work? Can we do this? And then you think, maybe we can. But what I loved, I think it was you, Aqsa, that sort of picks up on it, that you actually can do something. And then you start to believe as it begins, actually, we might be able to do this. And then that grows your confidence, which each of you in your own ways have spoken of, which is why it's to be commended what you're doing. And I'm really, it makes me happy in the UK today. When I look at the problems in society, and I get to speak to people like the young people doing Street Flow in Halifax, or you guys with Golden Connections, thinking there are young people out there who actually are passionate about society. And that provides hope for me. And I hope for everybody listening. There's some great people. So well done for what you've done. It's fantastic. Keep going with it. It's good to carry stuff on, and sometimes you need to let it go. That's really hard. I know that. I can feel that one. But you have to trust that they're going to carry it on. And maybe they'll make some mistakes like you did. And remembering the mistakes that you made and watching it and then thinking, yeah, we did that. And not having to go at them and saying, what's wrong with you? But remembering, yeah, we were like that. And trying to see past that. I'll finish with this. A really wise man once said, don't look at what people say. Look at the pain behind the words. Look at the difficulty behind the challenges. And I think that's really important. I think that's what you guys have done with Golden Connections, because you've seen people who maybe perhaps were a little bit standoffish, a little bit, we're not sure what you want, but you've worked through that. And that's the difference you've made in your community. So fantastic for that. What have you got anything more left to do for Golden Connections before the end of term? Or have you finished with the outside stuff now?
We've got one more event which will tie in with the Joe Cox Great Get Together.
Yep.
Where we're going to be providing them with a karaoke and other intergenerational activities. Is there anything else?
Passing it.
Yeah, you're just passing it over. Yeah.
Well, have fun. I'm hoping you're all going to be on the stage doing the karaoke. We're expecting a four-way sing from the four of you. That'd be really cool. Let me know if that happens. That'd be quite good fun. But yeah, just keep going with what you're doing. It's brilliant. And I hope your exams go well next year. I get the names right. I'll try again. Have you got anything you wanted to say? Is there anything else? No? Cool. Fine. Alex, Aqsa, Aseel, and Daimonas, thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing what you're doing with Golden Connections. It's brilliant. Remember the lessons you've learned and remember the mistakes you've made, because the mistakes help you to get better. Don't fear mistakes. Don't go out of your way to make them, but don't fear them, because the mistakes help you learn better ways of doing it. Was it Edison? He discovered like 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb. And then he made what we now know as a light bulb, which is phenomenal. But, mistakes are part of life, so don't fear those and keep going. Thank you for your time. It's been brilliant. And I'm really, really grateful to have some time with you today. Golden Connections and Trinity Academy Cathedral in Wakefield. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.